What's going on, everyone? This is Kevin here, coming at you with camera tips and tricks for the Samsung Galaxy A14. Now, this video is meant specifically for the 4G LTE model of the device, so stay tuned if you want to learn how to get the most of all the various cameras on your phone. Now, the first thing I want to do is go over all the various cameras that we're actually getting here with the A14, as there are quite a few of them. Starting off with the front-facing camera, which is 13 megapixels, and it is located in this small water drop notch here at the top of the phone. And then on the back of the device, we have a triple camera setup with a 50 megapixel main camera, a 5 megapixel ultra wide angle camera, and a 2 megapixel macro camera for close-up images. Another thing to keep in mind as well is that video recording does max out at 1080p for both the front and rear cameras. Now, here's how things look on the camera app on the phone. This is the main rear camera right now. Then from here, if you want to switch over to the ultra wide angle camera, you can go over to where it says 0.5, and you can see after switching to that, we can now fit a lot more content into the frame here. Now, I'm personally a big fan of the ultra-wide camera, as it really does give you a nice ability to take some different looking photos compared to the standard camera. Of course, you can fit a lot more of your surroundings into a single frame, but in addition to that, it just kind of changes things up, which I really do appreciate. So I use that camera a lot, especially when I'm on vacation. Then from here though, we can head over to the More tab, which will pop up in a second. There we go. We head over here, and there's some other options, but one of them is the macro camera. So when you tap on macro, you can then get very close up here and have things be in really good detail. So that is a useful feature in certain situations. We also have portrait mode, so when you go there, you can of course get those nice blurred out backgrounds that I know that everybody's a big fan of. In addition to that, there is a blur slider here, so you can adjust the strength of the blur. So if you want less blur, you can do that. Or if you want more blur, you can also do that as well. And then we can even flip around to the front-facing camera to take portrait selfies as well. So you also get that slider, and then also you can tap on this button right here to take a group selfie, so it crops out a little bit. Now beyond that, you can also take standard selfies too, so it's not like every selfie you take has to actually be in portrait mode. But heading back over to that More tab at the end, you can see that we do have a few other options. So there's Pro mode, so if you go there, you're gonna get different customizations for ISO, white balance, things like that. So that's certainly a nice feature for some more advanced photographers. You can even go to this button up top here to adjust the contrast and also the highlights, shadows, saturation, and tint. Also up top here is this button, and there's 3 different options. We have matrix metering, good for broad, well-lit landscapes. There's also center weighted metering, which is good for close-up portraits and centered subjects. And then spot metering, good for backlit subjects and high contrast scenes. There's also panorama and food mode. Now what's awesome too is that if you want to take any of these and put them in this bottom slider, you can actually easily customize that. So go to this plus button, then from there, you can pick up any of these and drop them in. So let's say I want portrait mode down here in that slider. I can drop it in just like that, then go to save, and then you can see that I now have it down there. Now, if I do want to remove any of these, I can go to that plus button as well, and you can see that really the only default option that I can remove is portrait mode. You do have to have photo and video mode in here at all times, but it is nice that you can at least make some small changes there so that things are exactly how you want them to be. Now, if you're looking for a quick and easy way to switch over to the front-facing camera or vice versa, other than tapping on this button right here, you can just swipe down on the viewfinder, and then it does switch things around. Now up above here, there's quite a few options. The first one here is for filters. So you can choose from a variety of different filters here and adjust the strength of those filters. And then also there's some face filters here too, so you can kind of smooth things out. I'm personally not a big fan of that, so I'm going to turn that off, but that is there if you do want to use that feature. Then up top here, you can see where it says 3x4. If you go there, we have quite a few different options. Now, the first one here is 3x4 at 50 megapixels. Now, even though this phone does feature a 50 megapixel rear camera, it doesn't actually capture photos in 50 megapixels by default. Instead, you do have to select that, and there's 2 reasons for that. The first reason is when you capture a photo at 50 megapixels, there is a bit of a delay here as it does have to process that and save it onto the phone. But then the second thing too is that 50 megapixel images do take up quite a bit more space compared to the default setting. So they don't really want people taking photos in 50 megapixels unless they specifically want it, just so that you get the best experience when using the phone. But also up here we have other options. So I already showed you 3x4, which is the default. There's also 9x16 or 16x9. That's great for thumbnails. Also up here is 1x1. so you can capture photos in a square. And then there's also full, which is the full aspect ratio of the phone. Then up top here, we also have an option for the timer. So you can do 2 seconds, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, or no timer. There's also an option for the flash. So you can have the flash off at all times, on auto, or on at all times. And then heading over to video mode, we have some similar options, but also some different ones too. So you can add in some filters if you want to, but also we have an option to take either 1080p video, which is FHD, or 720p video, which is standard HD. You can also go up here as well to change the aspect ratio of the video with options of 9:16 or 16:9 or 1:1 or full. And then finally for video, you do have an option for the flash, and basically you can have that on at all times while you're recording a video. Or you can also have it set to auto if you wish. Another cool trick too is that if you're wanting to quickly switch between the front and rear camera, I know I already showed you that you can swipe down like that, or you can tap on the button here. But you can also just double press on the power button and it'll flip it around as well. So you can see it works just like that. And then while we're on the topic of the power button, if you want a quick and easy way to access the camera app from anywhere throughout the phone's operating system, all you have to do is just double press on the power button once again. So just like that, it pulls up the camera, and you can do this from anywhere, even the app drawer. So I'll try it again. And there we go. But moving on here, you can go up to this gear icon to access even more settings. So from here, we have scan QR codes that's already enabled by default. Basically, you can use the camera app here on the phone as a QR reader, so that's really helpful. We also have this option here, swipe shutter button. So by default, it'll take a burst shot if you're swiping on that button. So let's try that right now. And there we go, I just took 6 photos very quickly. Let's go back here, and then go back again. We'll go to create GIF or GIF, and then I'll swipe down on that again. And now I'm creating a GIF or GIF image. And then we'll pull that up and see how that looks. And there we go, pretty cool. There's also an option for a watermark, so I'll enable that, and we'll go here. And there's a lot of different customizations related to this. First thing is you can have the model name of the phone in the corner. Now that is very helpful to me because I test out a lot of different smartphones here in the channel. But if you want to, you can have the date and time there, or you can even edit the model name to a different name, maybe even your own name. You can also pick the font of the watermark and the alignment as well. So you can have it centered, off to the right, or off to the left side. There's also high efficiency pictures. So in this HEIF format, the photos will use less space on the phone. So it is kind of optional. I suppose it just depends on if you find yourself running low on space. There's also save selfies as previewed. So by default, when you take a selfie, the phone actually flips the selfie so that it looks in a similar way as if someone was looking straight at you. So if you want to, you can check this on, but I would probably go with the default of it being off. Then under video, there's advanced video options. So going here, there's really only one option, so I don't know why it's under its own tab, but it's high efficiency videos. So you'll use the HEVC format, and in that format, it'll be using less space in your phone when taking videos. There's also auto HDR, so make your photos pop by capturing more detail in bright and dark areas of your shots. I would probably leave that on. I think for most people, that's actually a good thing. Sometimes for more professional photographers, they don't want that, but I think if you're just wanting to casually take photos, you probably will want that on. There's also grid lines, so I'll enable that. And then going back here, you can see we do have grid lines, so 9 triangles here, putting things in the rule of thirds, which could be a helpful feature, potentially for you. There's also location tags, so if you want tags added to your pictures in the metadata, you can enable that. There's also shooting methods, so let's go there. So some of these are already enabled, some are not. So for this one, press volume keys. So by default, if you want to use the volume keys, you can do volume up or volume down to capture a photo or video, which is pretty nice. Definitely pretty helpful there. We can also go here though to change it. If you want it to control the volume instead, you can do that. Or you can have those buttons do zooming in or out. So volume up would be zooming in, and then volume down would be zooming out, all the way out to the ultra wide camera. There's also a floating shutter button, so I'll enable that and go back here. And basically you can see we have a button floating here on the interface. And this can go anywhere throughout the camera app, but basically just tap on that button like normal and you'll capture a photo or a video. And then we also have show palm. So show your palm to the camera to take a selfie. So I'm gonna try that right now. It's a little bit tough to do this with my camera in between me and the phone, but I'll try it. There we go, it took the selfie. Let's try that one more time. There we go, so very reliable. Definitely a nice feature to have there. And then, let's see, we also have settings to keep. So there's a lot of different customizations I've been showing you, and if you want certain ones to be kept, such as high resolution photos, for example, or filters, or camera mode, or selfie angle, you can enable those here. So that's a nice customization as well. But overall, I'm a big fan of the Samsung Galaxy A14 4G LTE. I like how despite this being a lower end device, we are getting a lot of different cameras here with a lot of different features related to them. So definitely a nice preview if you're not so sure about the various camera features out there, but you don't want to spend too much on a smartphone either. So all in all, I think this is a great device. But I hope you enjoyed my video on camera tips and tricks for the Galaxy A14. This is Kevin here, and I will see you in the next video. Take care and have a great rest of your day.